Hi friends, it's Sarah with Handmade by Sarah W, and I'm here with Flosstube number 27. Welcome to my channel. I'm very happy to have you here. If you are brand new, welcome. This is my channel that I primarily talk about cross stitch, sometimes some sewing and quilting, and also knitting. I'm a new knitter, and I mostly stitch on Aida. So welcome to my channel. I hope that if you see something you like, you'll consider subscribing. And for all of you that are not new and you are returning, thank you for coming back and spending a little bit of your day with me. I have probably a short video for you today. I tend to not have as much time in the summer to do as much stitching, and so I'm going to show you what I do have. And last week I did celebrate 1 year with my Flosstube channel, so I did promise that I would have a couple of things for a giveaway, and we will talk about that later because I am ready to do that. So welcome, and I am glad to have you here, and we'll just get right into what I've been working on the past 2 weeks. So I do have a new start to show you, and this is by Plum Street Samplers, and it's called Henpeck. And I think that I did on my last video, it was Memorial Day, and so this was my Memorial Day start. So I did talk about that I was going to start this after I was done filming my video, and I did. And so I am stitching this on a 16 count Picture This Plus Heroic, and I'm using 1 strand of floss, and I am using called for colors, but so I don't have all of the colors pulled yet, but I did order 3 colors that were fancy floss. Let me tell you which ones. And so I did start with one of those, which was Coal by Weeks. I did get that one, and I got I think I got tartan plaid and maybe pine needles. And then the other ones, as I get to them, I will either use called for because I have it in my stash, or I will pull something similar. There is also a DMC conversion on here too, so I'm not really sure what I'll do 100% yet, just because I am color completing on this. And so the first color that I did pull was that coal, and I did color complete with it. So I was able to put it away and then get out the next color that I will start with. And so I love doing that on smaller pieces. I've talked about that a lot in my videos, and I have had some friends tell me that they tried it, or if it's small, I may color complete the whole thing, like pick one color and do everything in that color for the project. But then if it's a larger thing, then I may color complete in a section. For example, I may color complete the whole border with one color, whereas a different approach would be to just kind of do a chunk at a time, like a section, and do all the different colors in that section. That's not really usually what I do. I like to just not switch colors very often if I don't have to. So I have had people reach out to me and tell me that they're trying that and loving it, and just because I do it one way doesn't mean that that's how everybody should do it, or that somebody else's way is right or wrong. It's just really whatever is comfortable for you in that project, because like I said, even on bigger things, I don't color complete the whole thing on a larger project, but I do I might do like a section in a color or something. So whatever works for you is great, but if I have inspired someone to try something different and it works for them, I love to hear about that too. So that's fantastic. So that's where I've gotten on this little cutie. And actually, I'm stitching this with my friend Kara, and it was her idea. She asked me if I wanted to start that with her on Memorial Day, and of course I did, but hers is looking fabulous. And so she sent me a picture, and I was like, thinking, oh my gosh, I really need to get to stitching on this because she flew right past me. So I'm keeping this in a project keeper that I made myself. I used the pattern. You can buy a pattern from Tiger Lily Designs, and so some of my keepers I have that I bought from her and some that I have made myself, and I made this one myself. So that was my new start. I don't have any stitch finishes or fully finishes this time, but that was my new start. Everything else is going to be whips. So I have, I think, 5 whips that I worked on. So I'll just get right into showing those. And before I do start showing my whips, because I think most of them, all but, no, I think all of them I have in common with my very good friend Sarah. And so I just wanted to take a second to talk about her. Most of you probably definitely know who she is already, but I just wanted to thank my friend Sarah because she has sent a lot of people over to my channel, and I have gotten so many messages from people saying that Sarah Stitchery has sent me over here. That is her Flosstube name, is Sarah Stitchery. And then she is on Instagram under a different name. It is Stitchy Sarah Reads. So if you don't already follow her, which you probably do, you should go check her out. But I do want to say a special thank you to my sweet friend Sarah, because she has, she always just encourages me and like talks about me and her channel and sends people over here to watch my channel. And also she and I have started doing videos together. So what happened is we start some projects, we will say together like, hey, do you want to stitch this with me? Let's stitch it together. And then some projects we had started stitching them independently, but they were the same projects. And so that's been really fun to encourage each other on projects that we're working on together and kind of see our progress. And then we got the idea, why don't we do some videos together and show what we're working on the same. And it's really fun because she stitches on linen, I stitch on Aida, and so it's fun to kind of see the differences. And sometimes we might be using a different fabric color or floss colors or whatever. So it's just, we've been having a lot of fun making those videos. So you can find those here on my channel. We actually post them to both of our channels, so you can watch them wherever you would like. But if you haven't seen them, I would encourage you to kind of go back and check them out. They've been fun, and we will have another one coming up soon. So thank you, Sarah, for always supporting me and shouting me out in your videos and sending people to me. And so this first whip, I'm going to show you. So she and I, in anticipation of our next video, we have been kind of talking about some of the things that we wanted to show and trying to think of some goals that we could meet prior to the video so that we could get some progress in on these bigger stitches. And so the first one I'm going to show you is called Tom's Foolery, and this is by Hands Across the Sea. I bought this as a PDF on their website, instant download, very easy, and I'm using all of the called for DMC floss. And the fabric that I'm stitching this on is an 18 count Fiber on a Whim cream and sugar, and I'm using all the called for DMC, and I'm using 1 strand of floss on this. So initially when we started stitching this, we started on the border, and it's pretty big, and we're not done with it, but we kind of were finding that we weren't reaching for this all the time just because it was kind of boring just working on the border all the time. So we said, you know what, forget finishing the border. Let's just go into some motifs and have some fun. And so that's exactly what we did. So you can see I have a lot done on the border, but there is still so much more to do, because even when I finish filling in that bottom row, I'm still not done with the border. There's just so much detail to it. I don't think this picture really does it justice, but you can see there's just so much to it. But anyway, we decided to go into this corner and get some motifs done. And so we both have been working hard on that and getting that done, and I was excited to see some of this come to life. It's so beautiful. I really love stitching with bright colors, especially like bright purples are so fun to stitch with. So I've been having a ball stitching on that, and I cannot wait until we do our next video and we can see them side by side, because we're using the same floss but different fabric colors, and I love her fabric color. So I always like to see, it's not as easy to see the difference when she just shows me a picture of her stitch. But what we realized on the last video that we did together, when we held them up side by side, oh my gosh, you could really see the difference in the two fabrics, and that was really fun to see. And I've got this housed in a small keeper, a mini keeper that Carrie from Tiger Lily Designs, she made this. She makes and sells these, but she gifted this to me last year, this time last year. So I love it, and the bright colors, I just knew I had to put something bright and fun in that. So I love it. Moving on, and this is another project keeper that Carrie made. And so that's what I have this one in. So I am stitching on, and this is another Plum Street Samplers. And this is called Blackberry House. This is a gift from my sister. She got me this chart, I believe, for my birthday this past year, I think. Anyway, I love this. Love this chart. The colors are just, I'm sorry about the glare, but they're so pretty. The purples, like, so pretty. So I am using all called for colors, but let's see, 4 of them are DMC. So the chart gives you, you know, fancy floss or a DMC equivalent. So I'm using mostly fancy floss, and then some, just 4 DMC colors. Oh, and I'll also mention this too. If you're ever interested in in my exact color conversions, or like exactly which ones did you use, you know, I may not take the time to list all of that out in every video, but you can always ask me and I will always share that with you if you're interested. And sometimes I don't know, you know, the answer to that until I'm finished stitching a project, because sometimes I pick them as I go. So I will say that, but I keep very, very detailed notes. So I should have the information if you want it. So here is my progress so far. And I just randomly picked this up the other day, and I was working on this house a little bit, and oh my gosh, I made the biggest mistake. So the roof and the windows are one color, and then the house is a different color. It's more of a purple color. Oh my gosh, for some reason, I got out the color for the windows because I was gonna do the windows, right? But I wasn't stitching the windows, I was stitching the house, and I was just stitching away, like so much stitching. And then I was like, this is not purpley. But I had done like 1 strand already of the purple. So I was like, what is happening? Maybe this strand I got was just dyed super weird. But then when I really looked at it, I was like, no, I did the wrong color. So I had to literally frog all of that out and then start over. So, I mean, this house would be finished if it wasn't for that. But you know what I said? I did not want to put it in timeout because I thought I will not pick that back up. If I know there's an issue, I will be so discouraged from picking that up and I won't want to. And so I went ahead and just frogged it right then, did it, got it done, and started over with the right color. So usually my mistakes are something like that. It's usually never like a counting mistake. People always ask me about that. Like, how do you color complete? That's so much counting. I would mess up. I am, for some reason, really good at that part. It's just silly little things like this. I intended to do the windows, so I got the window color, but then when I went to put stitches in, I just decided right then, oh no, I'm not doing the windows, I'm doing the house for some reason. So, but it's fixed, it's okay, everything's fine. It'll be fine. So, I mean, and I honestly considered leaving it for a minute, but then I was like, no, just fix it. So I did. But I'm happy that this will be a really good fill-in project, because I think there's like a line of the darker gray that goes around this, and then everything else will be fill-in. So that will be fun. So I'm glad I did get that lighter part outlined. So that'll be good. But this is just so pretty. Oh, and let me tell you about the fabric. So this is on a Picture This Plus. It's a 16 count and it's called Tycho, and I'm using 1 strand. Most of the time, like, I really like to do 1 strand, so most everything I show will be, but I'll always try to remember to tell you anyway. But I used to stitch 16 count Picture This Plus with 2 strands because I just always thought that was the rule. It's 16 count. You have to stitch it with 2 strands. But it is so tight, Picture This Plus is, and I really find that I love the coverage if I do 1 strand, and so I'm fine. I love it. I love how it looks. And okay, so here's another keeper. This one was not made by me. I bought this one from Carrie. But okay, what's in here is, oh, and I don't know if I mentioned it. I know I said that all of these I was stitching also with Sarah, but she's stitching Blackberry House with me too, and she's also stitching this one. This one is called Sarah's Sewing Bag, and it's so pretty. It's by Stacy Nash, and so you stitch on one big piece of fabric, but then you fold it up and you sew it together, and you have this adorable little sewing bag. So of course it had the name Sarah in the name, so you know, we had to stitch it. Oh my gosh, this is so pretty. So I'm using an 18 count fabric for this, and it is by LFA Linens in the color Millstone, and this is my progress. We both pulled this out and made a plan, and we worked on it, and we wanted to get all of that grass under the house and also the deer in, and so we accomplished it. Oh, also these 2 little trees above the house, I put those in too. So I think she had already done hers, and because we actually started in different places on this one. Like, we weren't trying to keep up with each other. We just were going to start it and stitch it. But then I started with the house and she started up here, and then we swapped places, and then we were kind of like, well, we're in the same spot. Let's just do the same thing together. So we decided on the grass and the deer. So pretty. I just love it. And so 1 strand on this, but the floss that I'm using is some of the Called For Fancy floss, and then I made some substitutions too. But you know, like I said, if you're interested in my exact list, let me know. But this was kind of like, I had the chart already, and I mean, it wasn't kitted up. I just wanted to start it, and one night we were both like, let's start this right now. And then we went, and when we don't live close to each other, so you know, we're like talking about this, and we're both like, okay, you go kit it up, I'll go kit it up. Let's come back together in a few minutes and see what we come up with. And it was hilarious because, you know, both of us had some of the called for colors, but then we were like substituting, and we were picking the same substitutes. It was hilarious. But so we don't have the exact same flosses for all of them, but a lot of them are very similar. So it was just kind of like a kitted up from stash kind of thing, real quick. Okay, and this is a bag made by me. And in here I have another one that she and I are doing together. And you know what, before I show this, I just remembered something that I forgot to mention. On Tom's Foolery, we actually have a hashtag for that one, and it is foolery on fools because we started it on April Fool's Day. So if you're stitching it, if you had it in your stash and you've like started it before and want to bring it back out and stitch it with us, or if you want to start it now or have already started it, if you want to use that hashtag and follow along with us, it's been fun. I've loved seeing other people stitching this. And the reason I remembered the hashtag is because we actually also have one for this, and it's called Serenity with the Sarahs. And I believe that's it. Serenity with, right? Yes, I think so. Yes, that's it. So we have another one for any of the other things that we're stitching together. You can use Stitching with the Sarahs. And I am honestly not the best at remembering to either say hashtags or to sometimes even use them. I try to remember all the things, but sometimes it's hard. So, because now I'm sitting here thinking like, have I been using the hashtags when I post? So hopefully I have. I need to go back and check that. But, you know, you could always like tag us too, because I love to like share people's progress on stitch alongs in my stories too. That's really fun. That I think it like really inspires other people too to pull out their projects and work on them too. So Serenity by Teresa Kogut, and I'm using all of the called for floss. It's mostly let's say, okay, so there's a lot of DMC colors, but there's also weeks and classic. There's 2 classic color works, but there's a lot of DMC too. I appreciate that about Teresa Kogut, how she will chart things in where it matters. She'll do fancy floss. I do appreciate that about her. She really is such an artist, you know. Let me show you that, because the floss is really pretty. So pretty. Okay, so I am stitching mine on an 18 count Aida by Fiber on a Whim, and the color is Latte. I really love those Fiber on a Whim colors that are like the coffee names. I mean, I haven't found one that I didn't like. They're all so good. Oh, I think I remember this every single time, that my fabric is larger than my board here. So that's going to become a problem. I'm just going to have to probably hold it up and show once I get more progress. But here is my progress on this, and I'm using 1 strand. And so now on this one, we are like coming up with certain goals with each other and saying, like, we started with the house, like, let's get the house done first. And then no real like deadline or anything, just whoever wants to get it done first can wait on the other one, you know what I mean? And then we did the bunnies under the house, and then we did the grass and these little triangles, where that was the next. And we do not have this broken up in any kind of organized way other than us saying, hey, do you want to work on Serenity? Where do you want to go next? And then we come up with it. So but yeah, I'm loving my progress. I think it looks really pretty, and I really love this fabric. Isn't it so good? Oh, love it. This is a big one. It's huge. It's 300 something. Let me look and I'll tell you. It's 338 by 340. So it's a big one. I almost didn't get it, but I couldn't stop thinking about that house in the middle, and really those flowers. I was just smitten, like I just had to have it. So I ended up getting it, and here we are. We'll be stitching it forever, but that's okay because it's so pretty. So that's my progress on that, and really that's all I've been stitching really. You know, there have been some days where I don't stitch at all, and so I've been kind of feeling a little like, do I change up my schedule for Flosstube if I don't have that much to show, or do I try to stick with 2 weeks but just show what I have, even if it's not a lot? So I've been kind of thinking about that lately. So so as of right now, I'm still doing 2 weeks, you know. I mean, I did it 2 weeks ago and I did it 2 weeks before that, and here we are 2 weeks later. So I'm just kind of seeing how the summer goes, and we'll see. We'll go from there. But I do want to say thank you everybody who has subscribed to my channel, who likes my videos, interacts with me here in the comments, and then also on Instagram. And so I do want to say that if you ever want to message me or, you know, Instagram, email, all my information is below. But I just want to thank everybody for taking the time to comment on my last video, and I wish I could have something to send to every single one of you to say thank you just for being so kind to me and so sweet. I really, really appreciate it. But I do have something that I did make, and I want to share that with you. So I made 2 project bags, and this is what the back looks like. They are a little bit different on the inside. That's one of them, and this is the other one. But both blue. I really love blue, and I hope you do too, because I have 2 winners for this giveaway. And okay, so the first winner is Arlene G1271, and the next one is Michelle Caping Johnson 4564. And so if you ladies will just send me a message, you know, Instagram or email or whatever is fine, and let me know your address, I will get those mailed off to you. Congratulations, and thank you everybody, and I will see you next time. Bye.